when last we left, it was heading towards dawn. The adventurers had made it to the home of Govar Metsk. Govar Metsk. And were investigating his apparent murder, or semi-apparent.
Yeah.
There was general investigation, and people had decided that they were going to camp for the night. There were a few of the city guard from Daggerdale. City is definitely a stretch.
Right.
That were also here, that were standing guard through the night. And one of the guards had been sent back to fetch Shelry Wren. She was a purported witness or possible witness of what had transpired that ended the life of Govar Metsk. Not long after the camping had set in place, fire going, tents up, there was a messenger who had found his way to this home, specifically looking for Snorri Brightblade. And he was requested to travel with them back to the Eagle's Eyrie. There was an issue that possibly was going to be affecting his bloodline that was causing him to be pulled away. So he's dog tired, and they loaded him into a cart and let him sleep on the cart as he was heading away. Didn't want to fully separate everyone and wasn't 100% certain that everything was on the up and up with the messenger. So Jinsarin went along for the ride in case anything were to go amiss. That way he wasn't fully outnumbered. That brings us to now. It is well past breakfast. You have been awake for probably an hour to 2 hours, well past dawn. And those of you who are ready to start continuing the investigation into what happened are greeted by the sounds of hooves coming down the path. There is a wagon being led by 2 horses, a coachman, and right next to the coachman is a compatriot that you have met before. You've known him for several months now, since right around the time of the Orcish invasion that led to Randall Morn being put back into power. He was amongst the number that were helping to fight against the orcs. And I did not write your character's name down.
Loke.
Loke?
Yep.
Yeah,
Loke Thandar. L-O-C. And it's Thandar is... Like you would commonly spell Thandar. Come on.
Yeah. Common spelling.
The common spelling,
Yeah.
T-H-A-N-D-A-R. Common spelling.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's how I spell it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
That would be common spelling.
Right.
And his grasp of common is kind of up in the...
Yeah, no, it is.
In the carriage, once the carriage comes to a stop, the coachman climbs down, opens it up, and grabs the hand of a young lady, steps out. She's redhead. She is dressed in what you would expect as common garb for a barmaid, minus the apron. Everything's in a deep blue with light blue note. The bodice is particularly low cut, and there's a huge slit up the left-hand side. So if she's walking, her thigh will become clearly visible if she's walking with any speed. Rather attractive young woman, probably about 20, you would guess. Lets her down. Will that be everything, Look?
I think so, but we need to pick up my friends here, and they wanted to go.
They weren't going to be leaving.
Oh, they weren't going to be leaving?
You're here to. You're delivering her, so that the
Okay.
investigation can continue here.
Then I will get off.
No.
I will get off, and I will say, yeah, I think that'll be it. And I will look to the other people and say, well, man, you know, I'm going to use my boyish charm. Well, man,
Great
Yes.
to see you again, Locke.
it's good to be seen. What are we going to do now?
Well, who's your friend here?
My friend? And I will introduce the barmaid to
This is
them.
Shelry Wren. The guard had been dispatched back to town to fetch her.
Right.
Yep.
Yep. And like I say, I will introduce her around.
This is Shelry Wren.
And I will take down my guitar and start to like sing as I go back into the inn.
Into the
Not-
inn. You're not at the inn.
What?
You're at the scene of the crime.
Oh, well.
You were bringing her to the scene of the crime. I told
Okay.
you this 30 minutes ago.
Well, you know, stroke
It's
victim.
an hour. My bad. It's an hour. So.
Hey,
Stroke victim. Yeah. Yeah.
Gotta
Yeah.
get out of jail free card.
I will say, yeah, let's. You can ask her all you like. I was just, you know, coming along the ride to see if she got here safe.
Yes.
Well, feel free to go take some rest by the camp, grab some rations or maybe something warm to drink.
I can always use something to drink.
Some nice hot tea.
Yep. And I will. I'll say I trust she will be looked after.
Oh yeah. I'll turn my attention to her and greet her and be like, "Hello. I was told by the local guard that you may have some insight as to what may have happened here."
I definitely have some, but only a little bit.
Well, any little bit will help. We're here to help in any way possible.
Govar had invited me over for dinner. We were inside, and he had just finished taking the plates away from the table and set them aside so that they could be washed. We were getting ready to set in for a nightcap, and I heard a commotion coming from the barn. He mumbled something about those stupid ghouls possibly being in the area again. And so he got his leather armor on, grabbed a sword, and when he got to the door, something was at the door, and it wasn't a ghoul. It wasn't. No, I've seen those before. This was something else. It looked like a giant lizard, but it certainly wasn't a dragon. It was about 7 foot tall, I would say. And it was clawing at the door and at him. He pushed the thing out the rest of the way from the door, charging it with his sword, slammed the doors shut behind him, and told me to stay inside. And, well, I did. There was definitely a fight that I could hear going on outside. But Govar, he was definitely a skilled swordsman. He's well known for such. A few minutes later, 10, 15, he came back inside. And he bolted the door shut. And he rushed over to one of the shelves and grabbed a small bottle and told me to drink it. And then told me to go upstairs and hide. Said something about her henchmen are here. Her henchmen. I had no idea what he was talking about, but I went upstairs, and I'm generally pretty good at being quiet. I went to his bedroom and I hid near a wardrobe. And then I heard the doors open again. the one from behind the stairs opened. That was the one where they came in. And there was definitely a fight. And something came upstairs. I couldn't see it clearly. I was hiding. I positioned myself with sheets around me so that they were draping down like a window, or like he was drying his clothing. I couldn't see it clearly. It was about man-shaped, man-size, vaguely man-shaped. Very bulbous though, and it was very hard to see in the dark. It did have glowing red eyes. And after the fighting had subsided, he didn't come back upstairs to check on me. And at some point, I just fell asleep. And when I woke up the next morning, I found him like you probably see him inside now. Drained.
Do you know where you left the bottle he asked you to drink?
It probably is still on the same countertop on the shelf.
Do I remember hearing? I'm always overhearing stuff.
Right.
Would I know something I sing about, like, that fits the description?
I was about to ask if I could make a roll, whether that's ancient history or spellcraft or
Spellcraft is only
Really?
going to be
Yeah.
recognized spells or spell components.
or religion.
Religion isn't going to apply in this case. Let's see. Did you still have the local history or no?
What about a just general wisdom check to see if, like, my studies, I could recognize what type of creature she described?
There are entirely too many that fit that description
That's
to
what I
be able to
figured.
narrow it down.
Um,
You can think of about 15 right now.
I don't have local, I just have ancient.
Okay. Make
Okay.
a local history roll.
Okay. I don't even know what that is. So.
Row, local history is what? Weird. It's charisma for local history.
Ah.
Because it's based off of your ability to get rumors out of people.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It's straight
Wrong
charisma.
dice.
Roll a 20-sider. Yes, a 10-sider is not going to do.
Yeah, what
You
the
need
hell
a
are my
20?
20s are?
I got 20s.
No, guys, I have. I made it exactly.
Okay.
I got 16, and my charisma is 16. And that's a flat intelligence.
No, it's
Or
charisma.
A flat charisma.
Yeah, it's flat charisma. No penalty on it. Okay. As far as something that would have fit the description for anything that is local, there are things that are residing in the Spider Haunt Woods, which is to the west of here, several days' ride,
Okay.
that are known as web lurkers.
Okay.
And considering the description as bulbous, red eyes, and the stories of what Govar Metz and his compatriots had done, you vaguely remember something about them fighting web lurkers.
Okay.
They are not spiders.
And I'm gonna relay this to everybody, saying, we got to think about these guys coming from the Spider Haunt Woods. We've had to fight them in the deals,
Not very often. But
Yeah, not very often, but enough that we know what they are.
Okay. I'm gonna to take...
They're not spiders.
Right.
But
They're web lurkers.
They work with spiders.
Yeah.
I'm going to look. I'm going to take him over to the fence where we had found the webbing the night before,
Okay.
and show it to him, and kind of have him kind of analyze it a little bit. I'm going to turn to you guys and be like, well, if you guys don't mind, would you continue to get whatever information could be useful from the young miss here?
Yes. And then You mentioned that you heard them come from behind the stairs. So that's not the main door. That's a
No,
different
there's
door?
two doors. There's one below the stairs that lead up, that leads out of the back of the house.
I don't think we investigated that door at all yet.
And then there's the main double front door.
Okay. So the side entrance needs to investigate.
And judging from the sticky substances they threw, you said it was web-like. Would I happen to know that web lurkers would use something like this, or is it a sign of a web lurker, or?
That's a sign of spiders.
Okay. And that's exactly what I'm going to tell Del. I have never seen really a web lurker. I know they work with spiders. Lost spider web. What I'm saying is it's all pointing towards that. And I'll kind of stroke the
Now,
beard a little bit.
one thing that you've heard about the web lurkers, though, is that typically there's only one or two of them together at any time. And
Right.
if it's two, it's a mated pair.
Right. And I will relay that as well, because that actually, if it is a solo web lurker coming through, he's in distance away. I mean, the spider hunt woods is,
It's days away.
yeah, it's not close. And that's where they usually are around.
Yeah. Well,
People just don't go messing through the spider hunt
it was
area.
peculiar because we found all of the webbing just here with a bit of a tattered, torn blue cloth, as if somebody had snagged on it.
I don't know. I mean,
And from there, I'm just going to be getting him back up to speed of what we found through the night. Just kind of
Well, you're going to really have to get him up to speed because I didn't tell him squat.
okay.
right.
So, essentially, it's as she was describing. We've got claw marks, we've got gashes in the building and the doorways. We have a cow that's been, looks like it's...
That one?
Yeah. Looks like it's been stabbed and kind of
Deflated a little bit.
gutted just a touch. When we found the feller inside, it'd been like he'd been drained of blood and essence, but a lack of blood in the area.
And no apparent wounds.
And the cow was as well, correct?
No,
the
the
cow
cow
was-
was butchered for sacrifice, but there was no shrine around it.
But there was no blood
We
around.
haven't
Okay, you don't haven't confirmed that it was
No.
butchered for
It
a
was
sacrifice.
butchered like how
It-
one would be for a sacrifice.
It had been stabbed multiple times, and it had been slit from stem to sternum, as it were, and all of its guts was hanging out.
Okay then.
Yes.
The way I have my notes said that it was butchered like
That-
for a sacrifice,
Yeah,
but there was no shrine in
You're
there.
thinking that it could have been possibly as a sacrifice, but it's weird that it would be done in that way without a shrine there.
Yeah.
And the
But-
whole loss of blood thing
And
with
the
no
cow,
wound.
the cow is not missing any blood, other than what spilled out on the ground.
Well, and then I
Right
also
then,
had put in my
strange.
notes that the cow was butchered on the side where the 3 shrines were inside.
Yes.
And on the interior, he does have 3 shrines. Do you have the
Is that-
gods?
Oh, no, we can live. That's a guard that's
Lady
outside.
Luck,
Okay.
Leave him alone.
Ilmater for Tempest,
These
and then the
people
one for
are
Suffering.
guards that are here to make sure that the property is taken care of.
Okay.
So, on the inside, he does have 3 shrines. One to what was the goddess of Lady Luck?
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow,
Tamora. Imardo or
Ilmater.
Ilmater is
Ilmater.
is
The
yeah,
suffering
bondage,
god.
suffering.
And then Ilmater is Tempest, or
no, Tempest is not the suffering god.
Okay, I
Ilmater
put
is
it on. read
Ilmater
the
should
wrong
be,
one.
yeah. Tempest is the god of war.
Yeah. He has shrines to the 3 of those on the inside of his house.
He also had.
Well, they kind of go together. I mean,
So, we got
Oh, yeah. That should actually go over there.
we've confiscated his armor and his sword, which was sheathed at the time.
right.
And the sword and armor were blessed by Tempest.
That is not uncommon for someone to be, to be blessed, have his weapons blessed by the
Yeah.
god of war. If he can attain their blessing, that's something to be said.
So by about this time, we've probably wandered back up to the group. Have you guys been able to extract anything else?
Good question. Haven't.
No, because
I know.
yeah, and this is back to they have walked away.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, we screwed it all up.
So,
Yeah.
so you think you heard them come from the side entrance?
The one at the rear of the house, yes.
Rear. And you said you fell asleep. Was it a natural sleep, or did you feel?
I'm pretty sure it was a
Something.
natural sleep.
Okay.
It was. I'd been sitting there for a while, and I was too scared to get up and move.
Fair.
The thing that I saw had left the room by the point that I'd fallen asleep. I just stayed there because he'd already checked the room. I didn't think he was going to come back, but I didn't want to tempt fate. And there were several of them in the house.
Could you hear how many footsteps?
They were particularly quiet, but as they were approaching, I'm pretty sure that he said something about there being 8 of them or 10 of them.
8 to 10.
Oh, I'm sorry, we're not
you're not there yet.
Yeah. But I'm still just like,
Did you see if any of them bore weapons, or if they just?
There was,
I know you weren't the one that came into
The
the
one
room.
that
Did
had-
you see?
the only weaponry it looked like he had was his natural weaponry. He had huge claws. It was 2 large claws on each hand. Very gangly arms. And now that I think about it, oversized teeth, 2 of them.
Would they kind of? Do they remind you of any kind of creature at all, or no?
If one were to take a spider and make it huge, you've got that mandible-like.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it would remind me of, is a man-sized spider face.
And the potion that you had you drink, do you remember a distinct taste to it, or anything like that?
It tasted very airy and lemony.
Would I be able to use herbalism to?
I was
See
thinking
what?
of either herbalism or spellcraft for that. And then I figured we'd actually find the bottle
you
to
can
test it.
actually
Do I
do
could
both.
smell
I
it
mean,
or-
it seems like they could actually do both.
I'm the DM here. Sure.
I know you are. I'm just trying to
Right.
get my party further down the road.
I understand that.
We're figuring stuff out.
Okay, yep, just making sure there wasn't a separate skill
Well,
for it.
alchemy.
It falls into the category of you can do it as an herbalist or as a spellcraft. So either one will actually be
So
applicable.
whichever one
Yes.
is better, basically.
So was I right?
Yes, amazingly.
Oh wait, what? Sorry. I'm sorry.
I got it on the dot.
Okay,
So
you want to roll equal to or less than?
equal to or less than
And
I
it
rolled
should
it.
be based off of a stat
minus
minus whatever the penalty is that it says next to
that I
it.
made it.
Okay.
And I did it for spellcraft.
Okay. Based off of the description and the effect, you're betting that she had a potion of invisibility.
Okay.
Because didn't she say she just like kind of draped some clothes over it? Like the thing, whatever it was, would have seen her had she not. Okay. That makes sense.
Yep. Well, if it wasn't a potion of invisibility, it was something extremely close.
Okay. Can you think of any other questions at this moment?
Yeah, let's go in. I'm gonna ask him. Ask him. Do you want to go inside with me for a sec?
That's going to be the plan.
Okay.
Figured we'd discuss stuff inside
Right.
and give you the full recap and show you exactly.
I want to. When I go inside, I want to go to the.
This guy's standing up.
Okay.
I want to go
This guy's
to.
standing up.
Yes,
with
he
you.
was supposed to be
I
standing.
want to go over to the altar of Tamora, flip a coin, and put it down.
Okay.
And because
Yes. I understand.
and I'll go ahead and scratch off a gold because that's what I'm putting down.
Okay. Making an offering.
Yep.
There was one other thing, now that I think about it. I did hear him scream at one point. He screamed out, "Goffle, you whore, do your worst."
Gossel?
Goffle.
Any local history check can be
So-
done on this?
Common spelling.
Upon hearing that name,
Yeah, common spelling.
could I do an ancient history or anything like that?
Local history.
Okay, I will let him know as we meet.
Once again,
With
on
them.
D20.
Yeah. Okay. At this point,
Yeah.
they have a...
Wow.
Do you need different dice?
I'm getting my dice.
Well, you already failed.
Yeah. Oh,
These
yeah.
aren't a thing.
That's a failure. You need
Yeah.
equal or lower.
You need lower. That's why I said what I did when I said it.
So, he failed. He has no idea who that is.
No.
Yeah, and I will tell him that. Yeah, got no clue. Hey, wait a minute. I just gave an offering to Tamora. Give me a flip to see? No.
Now that she's
3
told us
20s.
that,
Okay.
would you mind? Would you like to go and rest and have some stew for a minute while we discuss, and then see if we have anything else?
I've already had food before I rode out. But I will be more than happy to wait with the guards by the fire while you do. 'Cause I don't really want to go in right now.
I understand that.
She doesn't have any tattoos or markings or anything like that on her, does she?
No. Nothing that you can see.
Do you know? So that way we can plan for it. If he had a preferred deity that he would like to be honored in his burial. Since there are 3 different shrines in there, I am unsure of which one to ask for.
Tempest.
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 Yeah, because Lady Luck would not shine on that. And Ilmater, good luck. Good luck. You need Tamora around with Ilmater.
Okay. The suffering god.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So I will have her go to the fire, and then I will see these 2 coming up and wait for them to meet us inside the house.
Okay.
And I'll say, so, any news?
So she described the creatures a little bit more in depth. Gangly arms, claws on both hands, mandibles that remind her of spiders. And then she said that she heard 8 to 10 of them, and they came through the back entrance. And she did hear him scream something of Gothel,
Okay.
along the lines of "Gothel, do your worst." And the potion he gave her, She said it tasted airy and lemony, so I'm assuming it is a potion of invisibility that he gave her to help protect her.
Wow.
Who was she to him again?
She was a friend.
The lady
That
of the
came-
night.
A friend or a friend?
Probably.
The question is whether it was a friend or a friend.
Okay.
We don't know
You
exactly.
don't know
We
for
just
sure.
know that she was.
She said that she was invited over for dinner, and that after dinner they were getting ready to settle in for a nightcap, and then the place was attacked. So that's what you know for sure.
There are
Yep.
assumptions, but that's all we have.
Yeah, you have assumptions. She had the only thing that you got from Leo about her is that she has something of a bad reputation.
Right.
That's why we are thinking she's a friend,
Right.
but she could be just an honest
A
to goodness
friend.
friend.
I don't know, y'all, because everything is screaming at me
Okay.
from the spider woods.
Okay, something that's important. When you walk in the door, you don't notice the 3 shrines initially.
Right.
The first thing you see is a couch that's not very far inside the abode, and there's a dead body that is now naked, laying on the couch, and he has been desiccated. The only thing, well, technically, he is wearing underwear. He did have undergarments on.
Left him with his dignity.
Yep. And he looks the most gray and pale right around his mouth. And then as it reaches out to his fingertips, it's as though he actually had normal human finger color at the tips. Same thing with his toes. It's like everything was sucked up and out of his mouth.
And
I
Does
don't
he
know.
have a study or
I want to investigate the back door.
Actually, now that I think about it, make an ancient history check.
Nope.
Okay, never mind.
I rolled an 18.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
I
any
have
place
a
that
high
he'd be, like,
intelligence, but
writing
not
letters
that
and
high.
things like that?
If you're looking for, okay, in the ground floor area, what you see, there is a dining room table. There's the 3 different areas to the different shrines. He's got shelves over here. Most of it's lined with jars. There's some plates that are obviously in the lower cupboard area. One of the doors is open and wide, and you can see plates there. There's still service on the table as far as forks, knives, things like that. They're scattered as though they've been jostled.
Right.
The table was obviously hit hard at some point. This is not a dresser or a bureau. This is the fireplace.
Okay.
Okay.
And this was the double front doors that you came in. There is a weapons rack off to the left. That's what this is.
Okay. Is it full empty?
There's a couple of broadswords and a row of 6 daggers that are there.
So,
But there's no like open slots there?
There's an
or-
empty slot.
Okay. There
That's
is an
where his
empty slot.
sword
That's
was.
where his sword was. Yeah.
Yeah.
so I'm going to announce that Glorifine is going to investigate the back door since that's where
Okay.
the lady said she heard.
Okay. The stack of wood right here, that's the stairs that lead up.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
And the back door is by the stairs. So I will say I'm heading towards the stairs since where I was told the back door is.
right. Let's see.
And what's your character's name again?
Drax.
Drax. And Drax, if you wouldn't mind confirming the invisibility quotient by finding the thing. Since she said the vial is still on the shelf.
Right. Gotcha.
I
Thank
was
you.
going to be checking the shelf area myself to see if there's any other vials or anything else that he's got laying around.
All right.
Figured the 2 wizards would be good for that.
Checking.
You're a wizard too? So we're a group of softies.
Mm-hmm.
The only fighter is currently not with us at the moment.
Yep.
They're just awful squishy.
I'm a glass cannon.
Right.
all kind of the squishy.
I'm like the biggest fighter in the group right now. That sucks.
My character did pretty good fighting last campaign.
Let's see. And you're full elf, right?
I am
Or are you half? I thought you were full elf.
full elf. I'm a moon elf.
Okay.
If it helps with description, think like silvery elf with black hair. So silvery skin.
Okay, roll a 6-sider for me.
6. I got a 6.
You can't find a door.
Ruh-roh.
Can't. Can I do detect magic per day to see if I can find it?
Well, you can do a detect magic. Do you want to?
I'm debating. There's
Are
another
you
elf in the
forcing
party.
any of that to be good?
Hey! There's supposed to be a door here. I'm not finding it.
What? I'm gonna walk over. Do I see anything?
What race are you?
I'm human, but
Roll a 6-sider.
6.
Nope. You're feeling around. No, I don't find one either.
Yeah, that would be the case. No, I don't think there's a door here.
I will go and look as well.
What?
Um,
What she said in the back? Okay.
3.
What race are you?
Elf. Full elf.
That's
You-
part of why I was.
Yep. You realize, oh, this is expert craftsmanship. This is a very well concealed door. And as you're feeling around, you find a secret hat or latch. And push, and it pops out and slides to the side. It slides in the direction of the stairs.
Milady.
Just inside, you can see there is a full statue, 5 foot tall, of Tempest. And it looks
Where
like
is this in relation to we went up the stairs or
No,
where
no,
is this-
it's
where's this-
right by-
you went
Stairs.
over here, and it's underneath the stairs.
Gotcha. Right, dodger.
So, large statue of Tempest.
It's a 5 foot tall statue of Tempest.
So as tall as my character.
Yep. And you're reasonably certain, and the statue cuts him off at the knees. Reasonably certain that this is where he would normally stash his armor, because you can see where there's fittings that would allow him to put his personal armor on Tempest.
Cool.
And to the right of that is a section that you can see light coming in from outside. And on the inside, it's much easier to see where those little latches are. And there's a latch then that leads to the outside.
Okay.
Okay. So it.
Is that all that's in the room? It's just the statue / armor holder?
Is everything that you see readily apparent? Are you investigating further?
I am going to.
Yes.
Okay. So, investigating further. Go ahead and roll a 6-sider again.
I'm investigating now that he opened it.
Okay.
That's 6.
4.
Not finding anything else.
I'm gonna finish checking that shelf and area where the vial was.
Okay. Give me a percentile roll.
Come on, I know you're here somewhere. There we go. That's a 60.
Okay. As you're going through, you found that this is where the vast majority of his cooking supplies are for dry herbs, spices, their salt, pepper, thyme. He also has a stack of lettuce leaves that are out drying. Going through the cabinets, you're not finding anything in the way of special things. You do find the jar that, or phylactery that held the potion that she was talking about earlier. There is a drop of a lemon yellow liquid that is slowly sliding down, almost as though it's trying to defy gravity still, the exterior of the bottle.
Let's see. Well, I'll at least collect the bottle
Okay.
and probably head over to the little hidey hole and see what's going on over there.
I'm losing interest in this because all we found is the doors. So I'm kind of gawking around. I'm not.
I'm going to go ahead and uncap my staff so we got proper lighting in there and just take a glance at myself.
Okay. Go ahead and roll 6-sider.
It's a 3.
Okay. Human.
Yes.
Okay. Not finding anything else.
Then I'll probably walk out the back,
Okay.
start checking the area.
Okay. Outside the back door, as soon as the back door pops open, there's a guard outside who freaks out. Jumps, starts to get his sword ready until he realizes who it is. I didn't know there was a door there.
We didn't either.
Well, we just found this one, and apparently this is how they made their entrance on him.
Have to be ruddy cutting in order to find that thing.
Yep. Have you spotted anything odd out in this area?
Odd, not so much. I killed about a dozen spiders out here, though.
Can you show me?
Points out where he stomped out a handful of them. They're not in one spot. There's one here and one over there.
How big are
There
they?
seemed to be a trail of them.
Not so much, well,
Leading somewhere.
in the direction of the spider webs. And as far as how big they are, most of them are not much bigger than your thumb.
All right.
Question. Do you...
Yeah, the size of your thumb. And that would be,
The
width-
pad or your
no,
whole...
well, that would be all of the legs included. That's not.
Okay, I was like, the body of the spider's that big?
Not the body, but they didn't look like the standard wolf spider. Which is part of why I went ahead and killed them, because wolf spider I'm not so worried about. That looked It looked freaky.
Does the name Gothel mean anything to you?
Not a clue.
Is that Barkeep still close by? Would she be? She's on her way back to town.
No, she's probably outside.
She's still
I
here
told
at
her
the
to
camp.
go sit at the camp. She didn't know Gothel. She just heard him say Gothel.
I'm going to check the area to see if there's any more of those spiders.
Okay.
Just kind of peruse the area.
I am going to go upstairs.
He's going to go back inside and go upstairs. Give me an intelligence roll.
Low, right?
Yeah.
Got it with a 5.
Okay. Yeah, you do see about 2 to 3 of those going through the yard. Most of them are staying in the thicker grass, and they're starting to create little webs.
I'm going to take one of the empty vials I've got to see if I can coax one in.
Try and catch one.
Yeah.
Give me an attack roll.
What am I rolling on?
You roll a 20-sider, you want to roll high.
That's a 13.
Okay, what's your THACO? You're level 5, so that should put it at, 19?
I think.
Daco is under weapon area. Where your staff is, basically.
Okay, you're a level 5 wizard, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
19. I'm looking at
Yeah.
the chart right now.
19.
Yes. Yeah, that'd be a 19. Okay, so that means you would hit armor class 6 or worse, which means in this case, yes, you are able to catch the spider.
Cool.
And you slide the cap and cork.
Yeah. Probably go ahead and take a bit of cloth and wrap it as well, just to make sure.
I don't want to break this.
Yeah, I want to make sure it's secure and safe.
Well, while they're doing that, I want to actually look at the shelves to see if I see any books or anything about Gotham.
Okay, you're going to go in and look. There are absolutely no books on the ground level.
Okay, so going upstairs.
Okay, joining him upstairs.
Yes.
Okay, are you staying
I'm
downstairs?
gonna stay with him.
Okay, are you staying outside?
Yeah, I'm gonna observe the behavior of them for just a little bit. If they're starting to make webs and stuff, see if anything special about it, or if it just seems like natural occurring.
Okay, and do you have any
Animal handling or something.
let's see, this would be not animal handling. What? Animal handling, you'd need animal lore in order to observe the actions or habitat and determine whether or not it's normal or abnormal, above and beyond general knowledge. So, if you don't have animal lore, you're going to have a hard time figuring out if this is abnormal behavior for that type of spider.
Yeah, I'm more looking at the like if they're building it in like a certain direction, or
It doesn't seem like either the other two that are still out and about. It doesn't look like they're building it, pointing in any particular direction. It doesn't take long before a grasshopper is caught in one, and it is immediately set upon by the spider that bites it, and then the spider backs away and lets its poison do its work.
okay. I'm gonna wrap an extra cloth around my vial.
The thing that's really making these look creepy compared to the rest of the spiders that these guys were talking about, they have purple skin.
Don't like spiders.
Nobody does.
No.
That's why they're making such effective monsters. Everybody finds them creepy. And if they don't find it creepy, I find those people creepy.
So, at that point, I'm gonna go find the lead guard that we talked to originally.
And I'm telling them, hey, let me tag along with you.
Yeah, come on.
Okay. So you're trying to find Edwin Lightbelt.
Mm-hmm.
He is out in front. He's the only human that's out in front. They did a switch of the guard. You're not sure exactly when it was. It was probably right around sun up. So you have several dwarves that are here now as guards. The dwarves, as much as possible, are near the front door because short, stubby legs. If they need to run inside, they got a head start. The humans, they have farther to run.
Are they wearing any kind of like rank?
Rank insignia?
Yeah.
Yes, but unless you have heraldry, you're probably not going to recognize it.
That's pretty shallow of you.
Yes.
So, I'm going to approach. Would you care to take a few moments and hear about the findings we've gotten so far?
Please, anything that you can, whatever you can provide that will help determine whether or not this is something that we need to worry about happening to other citizens, the better.
Okay. The first thing, we've gotten a name from the young miss that came and gave us some information. Do you know of anywhere or place that is associated with the name of Gothel?
I do. How does he? Have you ever heard of the Sword of the Dales?
Yeah.
So the Sword of the Dales, the rightful owner of it, is the rightful lord and heir to be the Lord of Daggerdale. Randall Morn is the current Lord of Daggerdale, and he went missing for a little while with a handful of people that went to search for him. Govar was one of the people that went to search for him. They ended up retrieving the Sword of the Dales, and there is a woman who was trying to give advice, and supposedly she was attached to the Sword of the Dales, and that was her name. She was a mage, and her spirit was inhabiting the sword.
Okay.
Guessing her name was
Gothel.
I'm upstairs, so I
Yeah.
wouldn't have. I'm sorry.
It's okay. The sword, once it was returned to Randall Morn, they determined that she was still having machinations, and decided not to assist her. And he ended up providing the sword to Elminster. And between Elminster and a couple other mages, they figured out a way to separate her from the sword.
Okay.
That definitely changes things. Because if she is out, she is free, and she is attacking the people who took part in removing her from the sword, that would mean that everyone else that was party to that would be in danger.
Mm-hmm.
Randall Morn and Elminster would probably be the top two, but if she's smart, which by all accounts she would be, she would start with the people who are less powerful and work her way up so that they have less support.
Would I be able to make a spellcraft to see if I know kind of what that process would have been like, or what the effect would have been for the removal of her from the sword?
Give me a spellcraft at -10.
So 1.
No. So,
It took Elminster quite a while to figure out how to do it, and he is one of the most
yeah.
well-known, well-versed wizards in the realm.
Okay. Well, apparently just before things went silent in the night, that was one of the last things that she heard him yell out, was for Gothel to do her worst. And she said there was probably about a group of potentially 8 to 10 that were here, as well as initially she said there was something of a 7-foot kind of lizard creature when he opened the door, and that's what made the claw marks as he pushed it out and began fighting outside.
The damage certainly doesn't look like it's enough to have been done by a dragon.
Yeah.
I have... None of that explains the cow, though, either.
Right. But they, she also had a description of another man-shaped thing that was searching the house while she was hiding. Described it as having man-shaped but with spider-like features. 2 kind of large claws for the ends of the arms. Almost long fangs, kind of mandibles, and red eyes.
I vaguely remember hearing something about that. Spider Haunt Woods.
Mm-hmm.
There's things matched vaguely that description there. And when they retrieved the Sword of the Dales, they had to go into the Spider Haunt Woods.
Have you had anything matching that description around these parts before?
it is extremely rare that something like that would be here. They tend, from everything that I've heard, they tend to be very solitary, and the idea that there would be 8 or 10 of them, that would indicate that they were being controlled, because they're very territorial.
Mm-hmm. Do you know of anybody in the local area that would potentially know the tale, the legend, the details of where Randall Morn and his party traveled from where
You already failed. No.
from where they started to where they went to some of their feats in order to get the Sword of the Dales?
Well, you could probably speak to the people themselves, minus Govar.
Right. I didn't know if there was anybody else that may have had first-hand knowledge.
Yeah, the first-hand knowledge, those people are definitely here. Now, as far as that goes, we could... They're going to be a target, so we would want to talk to them anyway.
Right.
You're going to want to try to find Bergum Heritage.
How do you spell that?
Bergum, B-U-R...
Common spelling.
Yeah.
G-U-M. Heritage, H-A-R-R-I-D-G-E.
It's not the common spelling.
I didn't think I asked for the spelling.
Oh, I did.
Donya Lifgren. D-O-N-Y-A-L-I-F-G-R-E-N. The guy who just goes by the name Hobble, H-O-B-B-L-E.
That's me.
Outside of me.
And then Nori Lodosa. N-O-R-I, second word, L-O-D-O-S-A. Or pardon me, O, not Lodoso, not Lodosa. Those were the 5 that originally set out in order to find Randall Morn and, by extension, the Sword of the Dales.
I'm going to look over to him and say, yep, it all leads to the Spider Haunt Woods, don't it?
Well, I'm thinking it might lead to more than that.
All leads around.
So, while we were exploring upstairs,
Kirkland?
did we find study or
Especially the
anything?
gold ones.
Okay, so when you're going upstairs, looking around, it's divided up into 3 rooms. They are much smaller. The very first room that you come to is a storage area. Has lots of cloth, blankets, spare pillows, and then there's additional dry storage of food. There's several small barrels of beans, rice, etc. The second room is a crafting room, and in here there is a large tapestry that has been made that depicts 5 people, and at the very center of that is Govar Metz himself.
Do you recognize any of the other 4 people?
You don't recognize them, but there are sigils below each of them that would indicate who they are. So if somebody were to make a heraldry or a local history check, they might be able to get that information.
Okay.
And then the third room is the bedroom, and in there all that you have is a large 4-poster bed, big enough for 2 people. There's 2 dressers and a wardrobe.
Do I see a journal or anything next to the bed?
No journals. No books whatsoever have you found in this home.
Okay.
What about letters or
Parchments of any kind, yeah.
things like that.
Absolutely nothing other than some random scribbles where it looks like there has been some paper, papyrus, that has been used as sketching paper. There's some canvas and paints. He
wasn't a reader.
He wasn't a reader.
Okay.
He wasn't like, I don't know.
Vast majority.
Talking back and forth with somebody.
No, the vast majority of people in this world are not going to be literate. Everything is, the prancing pony, because you can see it's a dancing horse.
Right.
Everything is done that way.
Okay.
Because the vast majority of people just don't read and write.
Do any of his paintings have the same kind of theme to them? Are they all...
The vast majority of the paintings that you see that he has worked on have been pastoral scenes of the local area, it looks like.
So
There was one other painting that you found, and it was in process, and it was of Shelry, Miss Wren, who's outside, and she is half clothed. It is a painting of her ungarmented back, and with cloth wrapped around her waist and below, laying on a bed.
Okay.
You can see the profile of her face and her back.
I'm assuming the bed looks like the one.
Yep.
how complete is that picture? Just out of curiosity.
It looks as though this is one that had been in process over several weeks,
Okay.
and it is about 75% done.
I'm gonna
The only
Wrap it.
other, oh, sorry.
I'm gonna wrap it up to give to her so she has that keepsake.
Okay. The only other supplies that you find up here is there's stores of candles, flint and steel, multiple stacks of that. And then there are several vials of oil for oil lanterns. There's several oil lanterns throughout the house.
So upon not discovering anything, I'm just gonna grab that painting and head down.
Okay. Wrapped up in a sheet.
In the process of talking to the guard, I'm going to ask, and also pull from our own knowledge, do we know Randall's last whereabouts? When we split off, did he, indicate where he's heading to next?
Well, Randall Morn was called to a meeting of the Dale Lords.
Right.
So that was going to be which Dale Land was that? Tasseldale. That's where
How do you spell that?
Tassel
Okay.
Dale,
Okay.
which is to the south and east. From Daggerdale to Shadowdale, you have to go south, and then from Shadowdale, you have
Go down like Theriton Scar.
what?
Go down like towards Diverton Scar. That's further
Looking
south
at
down the
that on
road.
Google, too.
Oh, even further than that. You're looking at probably a week and a half to 2 weeks, if not longer, easily, in order to get from here to Tasseldale.
And that's traveling as a party.
Yeah, if you were actually going as the crow flies, you'd conceivably be able to make it quicker. Let's see. Part of the issue is this map has some of the lettering in white, and it's hard to make out what the heck it says. Let's see. So you have Shadowdale. Directly southeast of Shadowdale is Mistledale. Way off to the east of Mistledale is Cormanthor, and then directly south of that is Battledale, and then directly south and a little bit west of that, over what is it? The Dun Hills is Tasseldale, and he was going to be specifically in Tasselhart in Tasseldale.
I'm going to talk with the guard. I would like for you to have your fastest rider to get a message to Tasseldale to Randall Moore for me.
I think that would be probably prudent. What specifically are you going to write out the message?
I'll go back to my wagon and grab my parchment and scrawl out what I need to say.
Okay.
But I'm going to go ahead and give him 5 gold pieces and tell him this is of the most importance. Make sure they understand that.
Understood.
And I'll go back to the wagon and start writing that out while you guys wrap up what you want to do.
Okay.
Okay.
So, you confident join you guys? I'm assuming, right?
Coming downstairs.
I'm trying to speak for you. Yes. Yes.
So what did you guys find anything else?
Just found out that it seems like all points measured, probably probably the Spider Island Woods is where everything's coming from around, and the other guy he thinks it goes much deeper. Found out that there was 5 people that were involved with the Sword of the Dales and returning it, and this is one of the 5. So they're probably on a list.
A list, you say?
Yeah, a list to be killed, probably.
Do we know who all would be on that list?
Yeah, I think the mage, I think he has an idea.
Oh, you were present to hear it, and
Okay.
somebody wrote down notes.
Okay, the notes right there. Yeah, yeah, we've got 4 of them, and the name Gothel is actually the name of a maestress. Actually, he might know it if it's a well-known.
If it's not particularly well known.
Okay, but yeah, we've got
That's
4
part of
other names,
local
and
history, not ancient.
we got 4 other names to go with it, but we've got to get to them before Gothel does. She was a spirit that was trapped in the Sword of the Dales, and she was released. And these 5 people are on the top of her crap list.
Funny you should say that. I found a painting upstairs that has 5 people in it, so perhaps we can now put a name to the face for who we're actually looking for.
Really?
Truthfully. Yes, so.
Is that the common spelling? No, I will go in and go back upstairs and look at the paintings. Do I recognize any of the people on the paintings?
You realize that he misspoke. It's a tapestry.
Okay,
So
it's a
it's
tapestry.
made out of woven in. Yes, yes, it is much like the map behind you, except as a yes,
Portrait.
a portrait. You can see 5 faces, and right at the center of it is Govor Metz, the guy who's dead on the couch downstairs.
I'm actually going to take that tapestry down. I'm going to roll it up nice and neat,
Okay.
and I'm going to return to the others.
As you're taking the tapestry down, you hear a tinking sound, and followed by rolling, and a ring comes to a stop.
I'm gonna quickly hand the barmaid the portrait.
The portrait he was working on?
I found this in his room. I thought you would like to have it.
Oh, yes. Thank you. That's very kind of you. I was wanting to get that back, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to talk about it, and I certainly didn't want to go inside right now.
Understand, and I understand not wanting to mention it in front of the gentleman.
Keith.
Gentlemen. Anyway.
And that was a good word to describe Kovar.
And I will send word to the priests of Tempest to have them come to assist with the burial.
I think that the nearest priest of Tempest would be available unless we find someone wandering who knows the rites. Is probably going to be in Battledale.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's the primary deity worshipped in Battledale.
Weird.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah, but yeah, that's several days away.
Okay.
Yep, and that's the common spelling, right?
Yes, it's common spell.
Okay.
When I look at the ring, do I sense good or bad in it?
No, bards don't have that.
What can I do?
But what you can do is roll percentile, and if you get 25% or less, then you get a history lesson on the ring.
How about 10? It was a 0 and a 10.
Okay. You get a history lesson on it.
I get a history.
Yeah.
Then give me a history.
Okay. And while you're looking that up, I'm going to Mordock. That's how you pronounce your name, right?
Marduk.
Mordock. Okay. And I see that he's writing a letter. I'm asking where you're sending it to.
My mom.
You were.
I know.
Okay.
I'm establishing contact with Randall Moore. I'm hiring one of their fastest riders to get word to him of what's going on.
Okay. Where is he located at right now that you're sending that to?
Down in... I got the T word on the tip of my tongue.
Right here.
Tasseldale. Yeah.
Okay. Tassel.
He's currently down there at the meeting of the Lords.
So the messenger would probably be going through Battledale, correct?
Potentially.
If I write a letter, can we send that with it and it be dropped off in Battledale?
I do believe I've compensated him enough for that to be a thing.
So I'm going to have my character write the letter for the Temple of the Tempest
Okay.
to let them know that someone that honors him has passed away and would like someone to come and do the burial rites.
Okay. So, going to be making a stop then.
A very quick pit stop at the temple there.
Okay.
Because I know that is important, but if they're already going through there, might as well.
Right. That looks like the ring of Otto Altair.
Otto?
Otto Altair. Common spelling.
Okay.
That's what he were joking.
It looks like that ring.
It definitely looks like that particular ring. It looks as though it was one that belonged to him.
Okay, but it looks like one of his rings that would be Otto Altair.
Yes.
Do I know anything else about that, or?
This man was known to be able to spot a liar from 1,000 yards away.
I'm gonna take that ring. I'm gonna put it in my belt pouch, and I am going to walk down to the other people. Whenever I see them with him, I'm going to say, "Found that painting of five guys."
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
no, I found that it's a tapestry up there with the five people.
Yes.
And I think that, like he was saying, was this might be a good thing to. This might be a good thing to have. Hey, I found that tapestry. I think you're right. I think it's going to be the 5 that we're looking for, and it's got a picture of them.
The 5 people that are pictured, 2 of them are female, the other 3 male.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Which
And I'll show them the tapestry if they want it.
which 2 would be the females? Out of the one's name.
Well, it doesn't have their names; it just has sigils next to or below each of them.
Part one,
So
asking
the
him.
captain,
Asking the
him.
captain and or him because
He
has-
failed his role.
Right, I did. I felt it.
That was earlier when he wanted the local history check to see.
No, he got.
He got a nat 20, which is a
On that one, I
failure.
did.
I thought he got a check on
Wow, that's
one
different.
earlier when he was at the webs.
He got the one regarding what was happening with that. He rolled a nat 20. He said, "Yep, spidery."
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
It was a different role.
It was a different role.
it was a different role,
It was a
but
different
I
role.
could have sworn you said something about he knew of the 5.
No, not that.
And
No,
Nah,
Okay.
no.
I-
The captain is the one who's
Okay.
known about the 5.
Okay. I was not 100%.
Yeah, no.
I mixed it up. I am
Yeah,
sorry.
it's okay. He failed that role.
Okay, so we can ask the
Miserably.
captain which ones are who?
Let's see. Bertram Harridge. That would be a priest of Tempest.
Okay.
Donya Lifgren. She was a nimble-fingered one.
In other words, a thief. Anyway.
Not like that.
I was wondering how to spell that.
Yeah, it was a common.
She wasn't a woman in comfortable shoes.
Fair enough.
And Nori Lodoso. She is quite obviously a sorceress.
And Hobble?
He was a big burly man, quite obviously a warrior, and he's known for hobbling people in battle. If you survived and you needed to be interrogated, he would hobble you. He would put wedges of wood between the legs and then smack it with a hammer.
Ooh. Okay. In between the kneecaps. And just pop.
You just hit one leg and then yeah.
I understand. Is it Mercy? What movie is that?
Oh, misery.
Misery. I knew it started with an M.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
A little bit different than Mercy, but yeah.
sounds like this party was
Almost.
glass
Polar
cannons
opposites.
like our party.
Right.
Well, the warrior downstairs
Yeah.
and hobble.
2 warriors. More warriors than our party, but
Yes.
still.
The priest.
Being the priest of Tempest would have been a good fighter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're basically a fighter in a dress. No, they don't actually have robes, but yeah.
And
I think they're the only class or persuasion of priests that can wear full plate armor.
Most priests can wear full plate armor.
Not full plate. I didn't think they could wear.
Yeah. It's a question of mobility and
Right. Okay.
Most priests can't afford full plate.
Right.
They have that whole oath of
Piety.
well, not piety, but poverty. Yeah. Why, whenever you create your character, you have a lot of gold to start with, and then you get all but 10% of it back, and you have to tithe constantly whenever any money comes into you. Otherwise, you lose your powers.
What are you trying to say?
That people who are priests should definitely be tithing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, since
Now,
it's been a minute, my character, since Zach was in the area and stuff, probably gave a good chunk to him to take back to.
Okay,
our
I'm now
temple,
playing Zach, but no.
Or
Yeah.
we start having a
What-
church built there.
We're going to
then again, having monies put towards building a shrine or a temple in the area would count towards that tithe
Okay,
because you're
so-
specifically applying it to the furthering of the church.
Since my character's a specialty priestess, she probably was doing that during the year.
Year.
Yeah.
There was, that time when the area was under Orcish siege. It was kind of difficult to work
Right.
through, but yes.
So,
Yep.
Whoa.
Secrets don't make friends.
that will be what I'm going to send with the messenger. Also, I'm just using my own knowledge. If there is a better, more logical place for us to go, substitute that in.
Where are the others located? That would be probably a determining factor because we're probably going to try and find the other 4. I don't know what place you listed on there, but
Also, I'm like really cross-eyed, so
That's alright, he was trying to figure out my stroke-ridden
what
handwriting.
location did you
Ain't no
find
lie.
there?
that's what I mean.
Okay. I assumed that we were going there as a party.
So this is just the note that he's sending with. And then you're writing a note requesting that a priest of Tempest come to Daggerdale to perform last rites on a fallen warrior.
Yes.
Okay.
And I will list the name of the fallen warrior in
Yes.
that.
Okay.
Is that a reasonable location? Just-
It's something that he would know.
yeah, that's
Yes.
kind of what I was thinking, and
Yep.
I figure I'm going to end up with a counter offer anyways.
Okay. So, where are you going from here? What are you doing from here?
Want to ask
Discussing.
ahead?
Yeah, ask the guard.
Ask the guard, do you know where we would find these 4?
Let's see. If you're thinking about Doña Lifgren, haven't seen hide nor hair of her in a while. Last I saw, she had headed. I think she was headed towards Shadowdale, which
So that isn't far off.
it's
but-
not horrible far off. If I remember right, that's right around a week to 2 weeks
Yeah, about-
ride,
It's about a week and a half, yeah.
depending on weather conditions.
Right. And depending on what road you go.
Right. Now, Bergram, he did the same thing that Govar did. He took a plot of land and he has been working on turning it into a temple shrine. But it's been just his funds, and he lives in the parsonage that is off to the side of it. He is the only priest that is dedicated to Tempest anywhere near here, and his home is also, it's just north of Shadowdale. It's probably a week's ride from here.
Okay.
Now Hobble, he regularly is in Daggerdale proper. He received a plot of land, but he ends up not working it himself. He has other people work it, and he just takes.
We're in Daggerdale right now.
You're in Daggerdale right now.
Okay.
Technically speaking, you're just a little bit south of Daggerdale. You've gone only about an hour and a half or so ride out of Daggerdale. And then Lori Lodoso. She's also in the area. She ended up taking a plot that was north and west of Daggerdale. If you were to head towards the Eagles Eyrie and then continue past that mountain, there's a tower, Wizard's Tower, that has been set up there. It's a small one, probably about 4 levels tall, and that would be her spire.
And which direction is Hobble? Because you said northwest.
He's towards
north.
Shadow. No, he's towards Shadowdale.
No, Hobble is here in Daggerdale.
Oh,
He's here in Daggerdale.
Oh, okay.
He tends to spend a lot of time around, well, wherever you can find your food and drink. So half the time you'll find him in Teshford Arms, half the time you'll find him in the Red Roof Inn.
If that's the case, since like I've been singing in this area for a number of years, wouldn't I, in fact, have seen him?
You probably have seen him.
And
if-
since we helped with construction.
of the Red Roof. Odds are good that you may have seen him. It's just that you never interacted directly with him.
Never had need to.
Yeah.
So upon looking at the tapestry,
Looking at the tapestry, yeah, you would probably recognize Hobble. He does kind of stand out because, as far as features go, while he isn't a half orc, he's been accused of it.
Question: with my escapades,
That would be.
would I recognize him? Since I was
all of you recognize him.
like if
after
if
thinking
any
about
kind of
it.
interaction, it'd be foggy because
You're reasonably certain that you saw him taking part in arm wrestling matches in
I like
the Red
the
Roof.
pipe cookies better.
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
I'm gonna go ahead and start loading up the wagon and getting ready to roll. I figure we go into Daggerdale and
see if we can spot Hobble and then move on to Nori after that.
Get the ones that are closest.
I wouldn't.
What do you think?
Considering the proximity to this case, I would almost like to try to hit both of them at the same time to make sure we're somewhere, but considering what we've heard of everything and the numbers they've got, I'd prefer to stick together. So
Yeah.
We could see if we can pick up Hobble and have him
that's
join us to Nori.
Don't do a whole Custer thing.
Yeah. So I figure we go in, we see if we can talk with Hobble and see if he'll agree to accompany us to go speak with Nori and see where we go from there.
Yeah.
Especially with him being a fighter, it would not hurt with him.
The
how
spider
hard it
hunts.
is.
Where are they?
In relation,
Yeah.
it is to the west of both Shadowdale and Daggerdale.
Okay.
It's between the two, and it's a dense forest area. The trail that leads directly south from, the one that leads most directly south from Daggerdale to Shadowdale, if you were to take that path and go straight west, you're going to go into a section of other woods, and then you get to the Spider Haunt Woods.
Okay.
It is reasonably close, very close to Daggerdale proper. It's
Okay.
closer to that than to Shadowdale.
Okay, so we are closer to
You are
the.
much closer to the Spider Haunt Woods than to any of the others.
And I'm going to tell that to everybody.
Okay.
Because, like I say, the Spider Haunt Woods, I'm sure there's some songs that came out of that area.
Well, aside from that, that's reasonable area knowledge for
Right.
most people that have lived here for any length of time.
Okay.
While most of the players here haven't been here for more than a year, it's been at least a year, so you would have heard at least a little bit about, hey, yeah, don't go that way. If you don't like the 8-legged crawlies, don't go that way.
Okay.
If you
So-
like the 8-legged crawlies, you're a bastard.
Get out of here anyway.
So we ready to load up and head
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
say we load up and head out.
I
And
especially
you
want to
have the
get.
cart?
Yes, he has.
I'm
a
going
way.
to tie my donkey on to the cart. Yeah, I have a donkey.
You always have your donkey.
Yeah, I'm going to have tie my ass to his cart and we're going to take out.
Well, and I especially want to get Hubble out of Daggerdale if these spider things, the webblers, are
Web
following
lurkers.
him. Because I don't want them attacking the innocents that are in.
While we're writing in, I'm going to flesh out kind of a thought that I'm running with from the description of what was going on. I'm curious as to how many places Randall and his people had to go to, and how many battles they had to fight against how many different people. Because it sounds like we've got multiple different types of things that are assisting her. And so if this is a case of her wanting to extract her revenge, odds are fair she's probably negotiating with the people that he's come across and fought with to align a common enemy.
Right.
Well, and as the guard stated, he thinks the webblers could be under control of something because they rarely
generally
are in more than pairs.
Right. And that's kind of what I'm thinking is if this is a case of, revenge.
Why not gather as big as you can and do it?
Right.
Well,
The
and the
enemy of
sorceress
your-
knows better than to.
The enemy
Go
of
face
your enemy is
toe-to-toe with
actually
the
a
fighter.
friend.
So when we get in, since you know some of the locals and stuff, would you mind seeing if you could possibly find a transcript or information on some of the feats of the trip that they took?
Alright, yeah. I can do
We
that.
could ask
Because we could
Hobble
then,
directly.
right, and we could then start piecing together what exactly it is we might be facing.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that. We can do that.
So, and that's pretty much what I was fleshing out with them on the trip. So,
Okay.
Sounds fair enough.
I didn't hear what you said while he was saying that the enemy, or the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Do you have any idea?
Oh.
Dude, she's locked up.
I'm trying to remember. I don't know if it was me saying something along the lines of the webblers being under control, possibly.
No, it was after that.
you were wanting to get the guy out of Daggerdale, so no innocents would die.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Daggerdale has had a long list of problems over the last couple of years.
Don't want to add these.
Bad enough that you had all the blights knocking people unconscious and dragging them out of town.
Yeah.
Or
I
under
remember
town.
that.
Under town.
That was a pain.
And I don't want to rebuild my favorite bar.
No.
Again.
Right. Not again. And as we set out, I'll start singing and humming a song as we go down the road.
Is it
So
the
that's
raven
what-
hair lady?
Yeah, then the skunk queen,
Yeah, it's the raven
it'd be
hair lady.
the skunk queen, basically, yes. But I will sing about that. This yes.
I'll have to
Hopefully
be,
we'll be with him again.
I'll have to be considering when I can learn the silent spell.
I know it.
That's hurtful. That's hurtful.
I just didn't have it learned for the day.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what spells I have learned.
You should pick them out.
I don't know what I have in my book.
Right?
That might help for if we get into combat.
Yeah. Actually, let's go ahead and knock that out real quick.
Yeah, he has a cart, and then I also have a cart, but we didn't ride my cart out here.
Yeah.
My cart is at,
It still went out.
yeah, so nothing else. I can grab my cart.
Great. Probably needed to haul around the big fella.
Yeah.
It's a little loaded down. I got enough room for me and Daryl.